Hello everyone, welcome. In the last video we talked about Ureshino versus climbing silver. This time we will consider a line where our opponent will try to build a Yagura castle. By the way, I forgot to mention in the last video, this pawn actually has a name and it's apparently called Dogeza no Fu. Dogeza being that very deep bow Japanese style, you can check it out. So it's kind of like an apologetic pawn, kind of funny. Anyway, so we talked about debugging, right? We decided that we use the silver on the left, use it in the defense. This time we will see that our opponent will be using their left silver and put it over here onto 3-3 square, trying to build Yagura. If we were to match that idea and build a Yagura ourselves, unfortunately we already have a pawn on 8-8, so the usual Yagura shape wouldn't be really possible, yeah? So we have to stick with our opening and go for the central pawn push with the diagonal climbing silver. The enemy will continue naturally. And then previously we talked about this move, which was a defensive move. This time, because our left side isn't really under attack, we're gonna consider going toward the right side. And this shape is called spearing the bird. And I did my best to try to find out why exactly it's called spearing the bird. Apparently it's connected to a technique of trapping a bird with a glue on a stick. So I imagine the bishop is somewhat capturing the silver, I'm not sure, but those two pieces support each other. Please do not mistake this shape with spearing the sparrow, which is this shape in Yagura, where you have the rook supporting the lance, yeah? So in this case, rook supporting the lance is spearing the sparrow. This shape is called spearing the bird. There is a difference here. So, how does exactly spearing the sparrow work? Today we're gonna see that we're gonna go for attack immediately, and here Gote will have two ways to answer, and it is typical for Japanese books that they show us more passive response first, so that you as a player understand what's your main objective. So in today's variation we're gonna see them play pawn 3-4, which, as you know, can be kinda ignored, and we can attack here, yeah, because if our silver is taken we break through. So obviously the main variation will be pawn takes. Next week we're gonna talk about more aggressive answer, which is gonna be bishop 6-4. But first, yeah, we need to understand the main goal, and today's theme will be material piece advantage versus piece activity. It's gonna be very difficult, very complex, but stick with me. The first things first, it's always good for us to exchange those silvers. The main idea of those silver exchange is that we exchange aggressive silver with defensive silver, so it's gonna benefit us. But in this case, we also will be able to pick up the side pawn, which gives us a great rook activity. So here the book shows us example of when our enemy would like to go for that piece advantage. And they drop the silver to 8. It looks a little bit like a bad move, but their idea is simply to pick up both knight and lance. If we were simply, move our rook, indeed, both of our pieces will be taken. Center would be disadvantages here. So a good move in this position will be to escape the knight, allow them to take the lance, and in the meantime develop the same knight. And here we will have few variations, but the main one will be, what if they simply block our rook, and look what happens. We go to the center and they drop the lance. Remember what we talked about, always drop the lance at the back rank. Here it's quite important that you don't drop it here, because we can force an exchange with a silver drop. Yeah. Unpromoted to fork those two pieces. In this case, that proverb that we learned is very important. silver drop here wouldn't be as effective. So this is kind of a problem. Our rook seems to be captured, but there is hope. We can continue with rook sacrifice, king takes, and bishop 3-5. Here it's quite interesting. If you were to take this with the gold, bishop 3-5 would be one move faster, attacking the unprotected silver. This is why we come back to the center with the king. A little bit unnaturally looking, but that's the reason. And both of our pieces look into 5-3 square, and we have a quite interesting target here. This is something you would say a middle game instinct. You have to notice that your opponent doesn't have any pawn in hand. So de facto, the strongest piece right now will be a lance in your hand. And if they were to protect, right, this knight promotion, we have this amazing lance drop 8-7, which, well, de facto will be able to capture the rook, right? And they cannot block it because they have no good drops and no pawns. So this is a main point here. Of course, if you were to calculate the piece material, you can see we have a silver, two silvers, 2 golds. We have 2 knights, yes, we have 2 lances, but wait a moment. We have only bishop. Where is our rook? Well, our rook is in the enemy hand. So we are the whole rook behind here. And yet, silver is advantageous in this situation. It's a little bit of exception because we not only should consider what piece the enemy has, but what are those pieces doing? And if you look closely, this silver in the corner, it's doing nothing. If this rook moves, it also will be doing nothing. So it's like they never had the rook to begin with, kinda. And because we have an attack and our king is safe while their king is slowly getting more in danger, we will have advantage. Of course, you know, I know this position will be difficult to win from, but this is considered advantage, yeah? It's very difficult to evaluate, but trust me. So the similar theme will be applicable in other sub-variations. There will be 2 more. So we drop pawn 3-3 to force that rook exchange. Here we can try another thing, which is simply to move bishop to 4-2. Kinda more weight for our attack, yeah? In this case, we continue with our original plan. Bishop 3-5, trying to, promote our knight. They're gonna protect it. We drop the same silver as before. Now that the bishop is closer, we attack it directly. We assume they're gonna try to run away, but then we can capture the bishop, right? The point that the author is making, paradoxically, the king in the center looks quite solid in this variation, yeah? So again, I think piece activity makes all the difference here. Now the last variation will be, instead of moving the bishop or dropping the pawn, we're gonna directly go for the knight. If we capture the pawn, they're gonna drop the lance and everything gets turned around, so we cannot do that. Our knight will be taken, right? We need to use all of our pieces, and this is where we play a nice Tesuji, pawn drop 3-3. If they take it, they lose material, so they have to do something else. They run, and this is the most efficient square because it is attacking the rook at the same time. We continue naturally. Silver drop 3-2. King runs away, protecting the gold. We take the gold with a check. They retake. And here is the important decision we have to make. Pawn promotion 3-2. Yes, our rook is hanging in this moment. And there are 2 variations again. Either they exchange the rooks or they take our rook. So let's see, if the rook gets exchanged, we just take it, they take it, we continue naturally with pawn drop. And as we broke their shape, all of the defensive pieces are gone, we drop the rook and we decide our winning position, Please notice again, our king looks very solid compared to theirs. This fight is clearly favorable to us. Now, what if they take the rook instead of taking the token? Well, we can actually take the bishop here, so we exchange rook for the bishop. And again, simply speaking, we arrive at the winning position. The king has been dragged out of his safe position, we have talking that can pick up more pieces, a winning position as well. Seeing all those variations, the point we have to understand here is that the main shogi theory is the person with more material is most likely going to win, naturally speaking, yeah? If you think of it. If you lose a rook in the opening, you're probably gonna lose the game, right? But there are exceptions to that rule, and in this case is the balance between this inactivity and our piece activity. Because their pieces are so inactive, we could have sacrificed a whole rook. Yeah? So it's an interesting example from the book. Please consider those variations again. I encourage you to check some of them with the computer. You will see the computer really likes center positions in those lines as well. And that's what the author mentions. This is the more modern shogi approach, where the piece advantage is not as important if you can exchange it for this huge piece activity. Yeah, so perhaps this is why many people like the Ureshino opening, because it gives them new ideas for shogi position, for positional judgment. Yeah, so this is how you should be thinking about this opening. That's the main plan. And in the next video, we're gonna see what should we do if our opponent is more actively countering us using their bishop, yeah? So I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.